back for yet another week. I'm your host, J-Zilla, even though it
What's
says
happening,
Gills
man?
down there.
What's happening?
Yeah. What's happening, man? To my
Man,
left, as usual, is my main man, Chulo Rich.
what's going on, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Trying to work on some stuff behind the scenes. But today, getting right into it, culture defined is the name of this episode, right? Values. What do values mean to you, Mr. Rich?
You know what? In terms of the culture, is that what you're asking? What do my values mean in terms of the culture?
Yeah. And I really do want to expand this out, right?
Right.
Because, for anybody who may be watching or listening or whatever, depending on where you're at, um, I mean, it's not just us trying to just talk about black people and black things, but this is in our eminent domain. And I feel like our conversations about our culture could possibly help you and yours. So I don't want to offend anybody. I want different perspectives so we can widen our horizons, right? Create the hive mind. So particularly in our community, right, the black community, what are values to you, and then what do you see others in their value?
I mean, personally, you know what I mean? I value family. You know what I mean? It's the biggest thing I got. And it's the biggest thing most of us have. You know what I mean? So that's what I value. I got my own personal things that I like but as far as what's important, I gotta lean towards family. Um, and what's hard about saying what I'm trying to say is the fact that most of us don't really have values as far as our culture is concerned. Like, not that much gets passed down. You know what I mean? Most of the shit that I'm doing, I'm coming up with it. I'm the captain of this shit. You know what I mean? I'm writing most of these rules because I'm figuring out this shit as I go. Um, I didn't get a map left to me like a lot of people do, you know.
Right.
So because of that, it makes it a different journey. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Look, I'm gonna echo your answer, right? This idea of family. We see it in media, we see it in people's, crests, their family reunion shirts, right? This whole
Right,
idea behind ancestry, ancestry.com and black or African ancestry.com, all these different things that kind of talk about that. But how many people in your personal sphere do you see, acted out, right?
right, right,
Because when I hear you talk about family, I assume is, immediate family, your core family right there in your home,
right.
your parents and siblings, and how far out does that really go for you?
I mean, you know, as an adult, naturally, man, you're gonna branch off, and your house is your house. You got to take care of your house, and that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Your parents, that's what they would want to see you do if they were parents. You know what I mean? Your brothers, your sisters. You know, you want to see everybody thrive. You don't want to see anybody down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And going back to the culture and different cultures, and our cultures really don't do that, man. We like lions and shit. You know, once y'all get to a certain age, you just go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, Whereas other cultures, they make sure everybody's set up before they release you into the wild, and make
Right.
sure you know how to hunt, and make sure you can, maintain a living space. They give you all of the tools that you're gonna need to survive. We don't really do that, you know what I mean? As a culture,
Hmm.
you turn 18 and you get your ass up out of here. You know what I mean? Because my bills are high, you eat too much. So as a culture, I'm just hoping that we can have values or gain values, as time moves on. But we here now, so we need to start adopting some shit. You know what I mean? And not just the dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
know.
And we're gonna get into some of those things in particular a little bit later. But talking about having something to pass down, right?
Right.
And being okay with, maybe the kid graduates college and lives with you for a couple of years to get get settled before they're thrown out there.
Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you what, man, my whole ideal is exactly what you're talking about. Is y'all got to go. You hit 18. I need you gone. I have plans for
Right.
misses. You know,
Right. I need that room. You know.
yeah,
No.
and maybe there's some in between, right? Maybe there's some in between.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're not here, but we do a well enough job. If my wife and I do a well enough job, possibly there can be some sort of way station or stopping area that's still that still allow you to have your independence and us too, but you're not just thrown to the wolves, right?
Right.
The idea of
Right.
buying land and businesses and teaching our children how to run their own business,
Absolutely.
right?
Very
So
important.
how do you set something like that up? I'm looking at this thing from the CDC, just in non-Hispanic black males, right? What would you think? I don't know if I can call it a game because it's kind of rough, but what would you say the top 10 like causes of death is for non-Hispanic black males?
Top 10?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Okay.
You know
Uh
what? Let's say top five. Let's say top five.
shit. uh
Oh man.
so let's go with traditional. We're gonna go gunfire, violence. And then we got I'm gonna say the prison system itself. Uh
Mm,
and then I would say it's got to be some sort of disease with health. I would definitely,
mm-hmm.
you know, and that's probably two times because we don't eat worth a fuck either. So it's probably one of those in there too.
Nutrition, a huge thing. Yeah.
Mm,
Ooh, I got the wheels turning.
yeah,
And look,
man.
while his
Yeah, man.
wheels are turning, we always want to remind anybody who may be tuning in, who may be watching, let's get the house cleaning stuff out the way right away, right? If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Facebook, follow, like, share, no matter where you at. You can find us on Apple iTunes and all that a little bit later. And if you want to just chit chat with us, get your viewpoint out there, just go ahead and click that link, follow the prompts, and you can join us live right here on Urban Academia. And so right now we're talking about top 5 causes of death for non-Hispanic black male of all ages, right? And then you've hit it on the head. You pretty much covered everything, right? Number 5, stroke. Number 4, homicide at 5%. Number 3, unintentional injuries. Number 2, cancer. And the number one cause, the number one leading cause of non-Hispanic black male of all ages is heart disease,
Mm,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we talking
Shit.
about last week, we're trying to figure it like piece together what is our culture? What is it really? And this could be, I mean, a lifelong pursuit to try to answer that question. But I think when you look at those 5 things and how they're all interconnected, right? Because if you talk about unintentional injuries, is that policing that gets kind of showcased as the main threat to black
It's fucked
males,
up too. I bet that's in there. I bet that's
right?
in there.
Well, I think that can fall under, I mean, depending on what the jury says,
Oh yeah, that's just
unintentional
stupid.
injuries or
Yeah.
homicide. You can almost put those numbers together, but even that comes in at 13% combined, right?
Right.
4.9% with stroke, and then cancer 20.2%, heart disease 23.7%. So, like you said, disease and all those sort of things, that's really what's getting us. Then now we need to start peeling back the layers as to why. Why you think that is?
On which one?
Disease, because let me tell you, like, I'm not gonna go into the homicide and unintentional injury stuff, but look, it's strange to even say, like, it's probably easier to discuss the disease part of it, right? You got heart disease, cancer, and stroke are 3 of the top 5,
Right. We
right?
just we just don't eat worth it then. And that's the culture, right? right? You know what I mean? Like, what does the culture like? I'm about to eat chicken myself. Fucking love chicken. It's not a racist joke. Just like chicken. You know what I mean?
just like chicken.
It's part of the culture, though. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
It just is what it is. You know what I mean? We eat a lot of bullshit, leftovers. And when I say leftovers, I mean uh, things that they didn't eat in the big house.
right.
So figure that out. You
Slavery,
know.
right? So we're sounding like my man Kenya, right? From hashtag Black AF, right? So
They're
one
right.
of those. Well, that's the thing, right? What they left over, they just. I mean, we took and made our own,
We
and
made
then
it good.
bled
We
into
made it
our
cool.
culture, made it cool, and then it just kept going and going and going. Hello,
Yeah.
Miss Rycraw. I hope I'm saying it right.
That that's
She says
that's
lack of healthy nutrition
that's
and no
exactly it.
exercising.
That's
Yeah, say
exactly
that.
no exercise too. Yeah, you know,
Right.
as youth, you know, we was all in there with the exercise. That's what we did. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But once we got past a certain, you know, and I'm still in decent, you know, condition, so to speak. But man, it's not like it was. You know what I mean? Because we
Right.
don't do what we did. You know what I mean? So we got to do something about all of that. We got to do something about what we eat. We got to do something about what we do with our bodies, what we
Mm-hmm.
don't do with our bodies. You know what I mean? That's all we got.
So going into that, as the wife chimes in with environment, the areas we live in, population of our neighborhoods. So again, there's another
That's
layer, right?
now that's that right there can go a lot of places. You know what I mean? Especially
Right,
depending on the places that you're referring to. You know,
right. Well, it's one of those things that like how like a whole separate industry got a huge boost because of how we raise chickens. It's just wrong.
right,
They're sitting
right,
there, they're cramped in, they're eating
right.
crappy food, crappy cheap food,
So now you
right?
want
And
me
they're
to
not they don't
eat
get to
an
roam and
Impossible Whopper?
exercise. Right. There's no rolling fields for them to, so and then they're stacked on top of each other's in these cages,
Right,
right?
right,
And then, I'm sitting there like, that's how you feel, huh? About
yeah,
chickens,
right, right,
right?
right,
Right. And we got to do something about these chickens who can't
right.
speak English. Meanwhile, black people are stacked in projects.
Absolutely,
Right, eating cheap food, no
absolutely,
real land to work and roam and grow and feel at ease. Right,
absolutely.
Jor- Jordan Bills chimes in. Go ahead, take that one, Mr. Rich, as I take a sip of my coffee cup.
Oh, for sure, man. My guy said, I don't know about y'all, but my grandmother always told me she wasn't sick till she went to the doctor. Shit.
Oh man,
Shit.
so right, give it the times, right?
Culture,
Give
man.
it the
Culture,
times.
man. Culture, man. You know
You
what I
said it
mean?
right.
That's the culture, man. But that is that why we fucked up?
So there's the thing, right? We don't want to make it a one-to-one thing. It's not because of this, then that. There's a whole like slew of variables, right?
Mm-hmm.
That cause
Mm-hmm.
all these different things. You know,
Absolutely.
as the wife says, environment, population, or pollution of our communities, resources, factory work, right, etc. So that's what we're saying, right? This sort of thing that is not just that, right? It was really I was trying to be very specific about not including and leaning so much on homicide and unintentional injuries, right? As the top five reasons that we're dying, right? And that's just the males. Like it gets even worse with the ladies in certain areas and beyond black, white, anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us as a whole. I mean the everything's pretty laid out of how things should go, right? You should have your basic necessities, right? Food, water, shelter, which means job and all this sort of thing. And really, I think it comes down to even beyond black and white, it's more rich versus poor, right? The people who have much don't want to share it, and they're willing to allow the country to rotten itself from the bottom up, from the inside out. Because I may have a better bottom line this quarter.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. And they do this cute little trick where they have all of us kind of, to stick with the chicken analogy, pecking at each other. confused, right? Not educating, not exercising, not eating right, all this sort of thing, right?
Right.
And that's the real issue. Go ahead, take this next comment here.
Let's see. Janice Rycroft. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, call in the show and correct me. Feel me? Um, she says, and if you don't know how to do that, there will be a link in the comments. All right. It'll be highlighted in blue. Click that, call into the show. We have to we have to pull our resources together and better ourselves and our communities. We can't depend on each other. We also need to help keep black dollars in the black community. That's absolutely correct. We do not shop with each other. We do not help each other through business entities. We don't do business with each other. Right now, a lot of blacks are starting businesses, and that's cool. But we're not working with each other. I know that because I have businesses. So we don't work with each other. Now we're trying to fix that. At least I am.
Mm-hmm.
But until we do that, you know, we really won't get far. Because even as people that are trying to run businesses, if we have to go outside of the community for everything that we do,
Right.
it never benefits us. You know
Right.
what I mean? If we can do it as a community inside of, everybody wins. I know you heard the term everybody eats. Well, that's how everybody eats. You know what I mean? You have to literally eat together. If you don't eat together, everybody doesn't eat. You know what I mean? So
Well, the
yeah, bro.
idea of love thy neighbor, right? Because if you're
Absolutely.
not taking care of your community, right, the first place that your neighbor is going to go who doesn't have a job or is hungry is going to be your house,
Absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely.
because we definitely we don't outsource a lot of things in that regard, right? Like when you talk about that, it seems like a small percentage, but that's all you see on the news is they're killing each other, or police officers are killing us. You would think those are the only two things that are really plaguing us, right? And even those deaths in that way, um, there's a lot that goes into how they even get to that point, right? Lack of
Yeah.
education, lack of nutrition, lack of exercise, lack of definiteness of purpose, right? We don't have a real purpose, especially with these statistics that get hoisted up all the time, especially in the black community, talking about how young men, are going to be dead or in jail by a certain age, right? Well, shoot, once you get past that age, then you kind of lost. Like, wow, I made it past the age. Now what? No one told me I'd make it this far. Someone taught me for years that I was gonna either be dead or in jail. What do I do now? And it's just another layer. So there's the link, Miss Janice, if you want to call in, Mr. Bills, anybody else in the chat. So I don't know. I don't know. When we talk about outsourcing, I know what gets outsourced into our communities, right? This sort of propaganda and all these people trying to define our culture for us. Like you talked about eating chicken. I just like eating chicken.
I just
But
like
from the
chicken.
outside in, we've been told that, oh, you eat chicken because you're black, right? And the world has a collective laugh and they move on. But here's we want to get to a clip here. And as we you want to set this clip up?
I mean, yeah, man. We're talking about the culture, right? You know what I mean? And my take last week, or part of it was, a lot of our culture, we have a few things that we've passed down and adopted, but they really don't mean shit. They're cool. Greens are awesome. I love them. Holidays and just any day. Hell, I'm having some shortly. You know what I mean? But most of the things that we've passed down really ain't about shit, and we really don't be talking about shit. We really don't pass down nothing of substance. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But we do adopt bullshit as a culture. You know what I mean? And here we go.
All right.
No, he got it too. Get that
Damn. What is wrong with these people?
So there we go. So the crate challenge. Which let me tell you something, man. I don't know what it is inside me. I don't know if I'm just being classically conditioned or what, but on its surface, I look at it and I laugh. It's something about watching somebody else fall. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, hang on. Say again.
If you've been on the crates, please call in. Please call in. Please.
That would be
We'll talk to
interesting.
you. Please
Trying to
call.
figure out what went into this thought process. But yeah. So I mean, what is that inside me that wants to look at that and laugh? And should I be laughing? I don't know. I'm just telling you, naturally, I'm back here in the backstage rolling when that clip was playing.
That's the culture, man. That's us. You know what I mean? It's funny. I ain't gonna act like it ain't funny to see somebody fall, but okay, that's if it happened randomly. Everybody going outside and doing this dumb shit now. Like, man, I saw a dude have his baby do the crate challenge. It was like 3 crates, man. Baby buster ass. Then you know what I mean? This is your child, man. You for likes. Guess what? This what we do. You know what I mean? Come on, man. That's too far. That's extreme. You know what I mean? You got to stop somewhere. You got to stop somewhere.
So little stuff like that, right? That kind of seeps in. It's just, oh, this is just part of the norm, But if you peel it back a little bit, now we're kind of talking like a sort of assimilation, right? Where they're doing it, right? You talked about the baby and all that, and it's not just us. We got this from, I guess it was somebody who did it originally, and they kind of made it a challenge, but then it got all the way up to like mascots, for professional sports doing it, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what is it about us that wants to like, okay, if they're doing it, we better do it, and is it just about the likes, or is it just really another way that we're trying to be accepted?
I mean, wow. Right now, man. Right now, I gotta say it's social media era. Right now, but I gotta say that's a part of the culture right now, right? You know what I mean? That's what's even pushing the culture conversation we're having. That's where you keep getting the words culture, and that's where you're hearing this. You know what I mean? But what are you seeing? You keep hearing all of this conditioning about culture and all of this talk about culture, but what are we seeing? We're seeing niggas fall off crates. we're not we're not seeing, when we're not hearing culture, and then seeing something positive, seeing something that backs up who we are, where we're from, what we were taught, what helped us survive. That ain't the shit we talking about. We talking about
Right.
falling off crates, you know.
Right, Mr. Bills, hang out in the back room. I'll see you. We'll bring you on right after this comment. So we got Miss Janice there. Man, I really want her to come in and let us know if we're saying it right. Like, now I'm just curious.
Right.
She says, I don't laugh at the crate challenge. Me personally, seeing someone fall isn't funny. I don't find humor in that. It makes me cringe. And that's good. Let me tell you, you're a lot better than I do. There's a whole genre. You're a lot better than me. Because there's a whole genre of comedy that's just slapstick.
Right.
Like, look at Will Ferrell, who's made a whole living off of doing stupid stuff, having people hit him and whatever.
Jackass.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, these dudes are still at it. They're
Still
at
doing it, man. They don't die.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things of like, how does a Will Ferrell get away with it, and then his next move is doing a serious movie or a production company, and so on and so forth. Now he's directing and writing some things, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Why is it for us? We just kind of level off it.
Stay there.
All right, let's get to the next
Let's
challenge.
keep falling.
The next gesture move. Mr. Bills, welcome to the show, my man.
What's the word, brother?
Same old, same old. Look, first we want to make sure you're being safe out there. You need to pull over somewhere.
I'm getting ready to here in a minute. I'm a locksmith, man. I stay on the road anyway.
Okay, shout out then. Shout out, man. You need some assistance. We know who to call. What's the word, man? What you got on your mind?
Man, you talking about these fools falling off crates with no health insurance.
Wow.
With no help. Boy, that's another layer.
Wow.
I mean, and you say Will Ferrell, Johnny Knoxville, all these cats,
they got insurance.
They got insurance. You know what I mean? It's all fun and games, but these cats had insurance. Not to mention they had billionaire backings behind them after they started making plum fools of themselves. But it's,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
guess
feel
it's the
you.
mindset. I mean, I want to be seen, and the only way I can be seen is to fall off a crate. So, hey, look at me, watch me fall. I mean, but to each his own. It ain't really. It don't make a lot of sense to me. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's embarrassing more than anything. And I can't lie, like I don't watch it because it's funny and I laugh at people. Laughing at people is what I do. I do that very well. You know, I like to crack jokes. I like to cut up on people, but at the end of the day, I'm an honest person, and honestly,
Right,
these folks are stupid.
right. And see, if you any of us walked out in the backyard and seen our kids setting up these fucking crates, then what do you say? You know what I mean?
I'm
Like
gonna,
it's funny on the
I'm,
internet. You
I'm
know,
gonna
it's
watch
funny on
for a
the
minute.
oh
Like real talk, I'm gonna watch for a minute. Cause you gotta let him learn that lesson, man.
you got to get
Okay,
one
now
off.
see, but
I
we're
got
not posting online though, right?
no, dude, I'm not
Right.
gonna embarrass him. I got
Right.
4 boys, and if my boys are dumb enough to set up milk crates and walk across, I'm gonna watch for a minute. I'm gonna
Oh
watch
man.
and see how this goes before I put a stop to it. You know, I can't let you kill yourself, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Right.
sure let you learn the lesson that this ain't the way you want to do it.
I feel you.
Man, appreciate
I
you.
feel you.
Appreciate you for calling
I feel
in.
you.
That's good stuff.
Shout out George Bills, man.
Shout out to Jordan Bills, man. Isn't that one of those things that we do though? Right? Like, hey, I'm gonna let them fail, but a lot of that is done privately, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
for
like
sure.
my kids climbing over couches and bookshelves, and I got
Yeah,
my 2 and 4 year old boys. One is climbed up the snack cabinet and he's dropping down snacks to the other one. You know, at one
it's
point,
teamwork.
it's teamwork, right? But
Teamwork.
at the same time, it's like, what are you doing? All you have to do is knock and ask. You know, like it's crazy. But the idea that not to put them on blast, not to get some likes and follows and all that sort of thing, but handling things internally, is that part of the culture?
I would say yes. I would say yes. If that I was taught that. I'm thinking back, trying to remember. Yes, I was taught that. I was taught keep your shit in your household. Don't air out your dirty laundry. Don't you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So yes, that is a part of our culture. You know what I mean? Whereas I think all the other cultures work together and they already know what's happening with each other. It's not a secret. Um, they're working together already, and there's a active plan to get somewhere. You know what I mean? People talk a lot of shit about Mexican people and shit. I don't know why, but I most of them that I know, man, they live great lives because they might live 6, 7 in a house. You think there's nothing, but they all got jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean? They all got jobs. They eating
Right.
great on barbecue nights or whatever, regular nights,
Mm-hmm.
any night. You know what I mean? The
Right.
bills is low. You know what I mean? And until each, and this is what I learned from talking to them. You know what I mean? A lot of the ones that do that, until each, if there's 6 of them in that house, they stay in those situations until all 6 of them have a house.
Oh man, that is huge.
We don't do that. Like I said, we're lions. You're 18, get the fuck out. You know what I
Gotta
mean?
go.
I got stuff to do. You know, so our culture, like I said, a lot of the things that we have adopted inside of the culture, I just
Mm-hmm.
consider to be bullshit. You know what I mean? So hopefully, we can start setting some trends and changes and things. You picked that comment right there.
Absolutely, man. Miss Janice Rycraw. I'm saying it with confidence. That's how
My
you do it, right?
God.
You let me know. So she says, my kids think the crate challenge is crazy and dumb, but they also been taught differently, right? And she
Absolutely,
also
yeah.
says, I love the Mexican culture. So you asked the question, why do so many people make fun of it? Well, because they're allowed to. So the idea that on his, I guess at its core, like just the word Mexican, right? It sounds funny,
I mean,
right?
the kid, what I mean, it's been so many
Just
jokes.
Mexican. Oh,
I don't
okay,
know.
I guess. But right, but a certain class of people decides that one, we can otherize them and make them enemies. Two, they're so different than us, it makes them an easy target. And it's something that, again, getting back to us in particular in our culture, that's a group that we can turn around and say, "Ha ha, look at them." And thus doing so, now it's not just white people make fun of Mexicans. It's white people and black people, and we're all together, and we're
Hmm.
all one big happy family now, right? Slavery's over, so let's all together collectively turn back and laugh at the Mexicans, right? Who are saving money in gas and wear and tear on their vehicles by carpooling. It's what certain groups do, right? They're doing the same thing. You got the soccer moms picking up each other's kids and all that sort of thing. Carpool. That's not being made fun of. That's being touted as fiscally responsible, right? It's
Absolutely.
green,
Absolutely.
right? They're heroes. Look at the heroes. They're piling into
Absolutely.
that van, right? And then you
My
look
guy
at
said the heroes.
the heroes, right? Yeah, they're heroes, but the Mexicans are. It's funny, and it's something to be made fun of when they
Absolutely.
do it. But that doesn't
Absolutely.
stop them one iota. They're still going. Shout out to my man who engineer. He's got together with his engineer cousin and some other folk to buy some properties, and now they do sort of like a high end. Oh man, he's gonna kill me. I should have this name ready, but they do this like high end sort of Airbnb, right? If you're a
Okay.
business executive and you're in town, hey, you don't have to worry about a hotel or a random B&B, right? Come on over to ours. Like we got a nice house for you and your family, so you can turn this work trip into a vacation.
True.
Got some catering going on within that, right? I mean, it's just incredible. He's the one that I asked before. Like, we could do these things, but there's so much mistrust that's been sown on into us that we've adapted naturally as our culture, right? Hey, you don't trust a black dude, he gonna steal. Right, man. We could go in half on this, but he may not pay his half. Like, this is stuff that we've been taught and now we act it out,
It's real.
right? And I
It's real.
asked him, how do you combat that? And he says, you fill in the gaps of mistrust with contract. And then after that, we start to build trust as we start to see the fruits of our collective, you know, labors, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it comes back to what we were talking about last week, which is what's our culture? What do we value? Getting into this week, I think we all have to start collectively having these conversations, which takes a lot of work, a lot of questions, right? To
A
try
lot
to
of
figure out
openness.
a lot of openness, being honest, tough conversation and questions, and trying to figure out what we all collectively value, right?
Absolutely. Because
And
without a
yeah, if it's
without
harmful,
a
if it's harmful for us, we gotta get rid of it. Sorry, go ahead.
absolutely. No, I'm just piggybacking off what you're saying. Without us coming to some sort of collective agreement, and nothing will happen. Nothing will change. You know what I mean? And
Right.
somehow we're able to come up with collective agreements with bullshit. So we got to find a way to do that with something that matters.
Right. We all agree that like looking at people falling on I mean, falling, right? A lot of us, right, the majority are probably laughing at that without giving it any second thought. Right? As Miss Janice Rightcraw. Look at that. Say it with confidence. Right, saying with we have to be open, honest, and transparent for things to change and work. Absolutely. And my wife writes in, it takes a lot of work to convince people that have been generationally poor that they don't have to be. Ooh, that's yeah, you pull on the heartstrings there, wife. Right? Generationally poor. Because that's the thing, how many conversations have you had with other black people where we talk about our cousins? If I say my cousin to you, there are two options there, Mr. Rich. What are they?
If you say your cousin,
Yeah, like yeah, man, we slept with the cousins. You cut the lights on, cousins all spreading out and running. And, you know what I mean? Look, he's like, wait, man, it's a pop quiz. Like for us, and it could be like a Texas sort of thing, but it was roaches, right? How we
oh
had all
man,
these different jokes about like growing up in poverty, and we laugh and move on, and yeah, that's just us. But not, I mean, not actively trying to figure out how to get out of that, and collectively, right? Because I'm
yeah,
sure people think about it, man. I'm gonna make it out the hood, X, Y, Z. But the steps that it takes to do that, and where it's sustainable, right? So we don't become a statistic. You know, that's what
yeah,
we got to get to.
yeah. We more information, man. More information. You know what I mean? Education. Uh, we got to share with each other. You know, you live next to you. Somebody lives right next to a nigga that they could help, and they just don't help him just because they just don't give a shit. You know, and that's just, you know, it's weird. You know, you. There's something that you could do. This man could probably work with you. You know what I mean? You have a skill, you have a trade, you have something you could show, you can teach. You
Right.
know, but you so worried about that's gonna take my customers or that's gonna do. You know how many people in the world, man? You know
Right.
what I mean? You know, I in Colombia, man, they a lot of guys were starting these car wash businesses, and they was I could see them like competing with each other. You know what I mean? And then I think they all realized, yo, it's enough money here for all of us. And then they all just started really just killing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? The look of the competition just stopped, and then they all started really eating. You know what I mean? And they probably are crossing streams, and that's how you really eat. You know what I mean? So you can't be so concerned with getting it all. You'll never get it all. You know, and just help somebody out, man. Help somebody out. That's we need to adopt that into the culture. Y'all niggas like climbing crates and paying a nigga to do, you know,
Right.
you know,
I
fine,
think we
fine.
watched one where it was an older guy and it was a girl just like, I'll let you touch my booty. Like just make it real time. Come on, you got it. And I
Like,
give you
come
a
on,
kiss.
man.
I
Come
like the
on,
people
man.
like I mean she's literally like, I'm offering myself, I'm putting myself on the table if you do this so we can get some laughs at you, man.
I mean, and it's not. I could see if it was just something funny. You know what I mean? Are you watching these niggas fall? Are you
Oof.
watching them hit the ground, yo?
Yeah. We saw
Somebody gonna
we
die,
saw
man.
the clip. We
Somebody
saw the
gonna
clip.
die, man. And that's like, is that what we wait on? Are we waiting on that? Is that what we're watching? You know what I mean? Like we watch, dog. There's some funny ones, right? And then
Mhm.
there's some where people are falling off backwards on their necks and crushing this. Like, you're gonna die. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then they die, and then what do we do then? You know what I mean? Oh, okay. That's enough for the crate challenge now, and
Yeah, we
on
got
to
to
the.
stop. All the celebrities come out. We have got to stop this
Come
pandemic of the
on,
crate
man. Y'all
challenge.
knew that. Y'all saw this bullshit when they was doing it. Y'all
Right.
was sitting at home saying these niggas gonna kill us.
Right.
That's what you waiting on. That's that. Come on, man.
But in it gladiator sport, right? Isn't it the Romans, the I guess the nobles, Roman nobility,
Yeah,
throwing a few loaves of bread, watching the blood sport. Keep watching all this stuff so you're not really paying attention to, what really plagues you, right?
yeah,
You're starving. You don't have jobs. You're living in your own filth, right? There's no, I mean, all this stuff, but hey, don't worry about all that. Watch the show. And the
man.
show
That
great.
that shit makes me think of what's some crazy shows? Them it's the reality joints, the with the crazy bitches. You know, y'all know the names
The
of them. Tell me them.
housewives and
Uh,
the
Loving hip
basketball
hops and all of
wives,
them.
the hip
Yeah, man.
hops, and yeah.
That's the same thing, man. The
Yeah,
same
but how's
thing.
that different from basketball, football,
You're right.
right? How's
You're
that
right.
different? Hey man, look, we're talking to our white brothers and sisters too,
You're right.
right? How's that different from NASCAR? We're all sitting around
You're
watching
right.
people drive in a circle
Uh,
because they hate to
man,
crash,
man.
and the art of it is they don't crash, right? So, whoo, look how talented, right?
I make it home every day. Nobody looks at me like I did something special.
Right,
Whatever.
man. And you did more than just turn left. You turned left, right. Probably took a couple of exits.
All right, bagged up. Come on, man.
Bagged up. Yeah, man. So the idea that there's a small percentage of us out there who are keeping us busy at looking at, crate challenges and sports and entertainment, right? All the basketball wives series, right?
Right.
All that stuff. So you're not paying attention to, voting blocks that are being built against you and your interests.
And should we notice that off the back? Like, there's a difference between being famous and being infamous. Like,
Mm.
do we see that? Do we notice that right off the back?
No, I
You
think
know,
initially it's probably just a rush of like, whoo, everybody saw me. Look at this. That dog got 2 people. Oh dang, now it's 15.
that's
That's a
crazy,
hundred.
man.
It's
That's
feeding.
crazy.
Like there are studies out that literally link social media to having the same lighting up the same parts of your brain as some low doses of like heroin and cocaine. Let me say it again. They have linked heroin and cocaine activity in the brain is identical to social media.
Wow,
Right? Look, I'm about to find that link now, throw it in the video. But
that's
like
crazy.
that's crazy. So when you say, well, why do people do that? Well, why would someone smoke crack? You know, I'm sure initially there was a good reason or a reason for them to do it or justify it. Maybe not a good reason.
We shouldn't have gave that stat, man. It's crazy people out here. Somebody gonna be smoking on Facebook now, trying to get a double whammy. Like this
I'm
is
gonna double
this
give me all
is
the likes that gummy
you're right.
got the drugs and the drugs.
It's too much.
Yeah. So when you think about like how Twitter and Facebook and these companies are like, all right, now there's a administration in, that's here that's trying to crack down and look good by cracking down on us. They're trying to break up Facebook. Now all of a sudden, oh, Facebook is looking into hiding their likes on Instagram, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
there's all this information. Now someone says, hey, if you take the vaccine, you get cloned. Now there's a little bloop, bloop. Well, actually, they got little fact checks now. Have you been paying attention to this? None of this existed during Trump's era, right? But now Biden is in and talking about breaking up Facebook and all that. And now they got little, oh, well, we want a fact check because we want everybody to have the correct information. Like, you didn't care about that 4 years
Right.
ago,
Right.
3 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's incredible.
I don't believe you do now.
Incredible. So when we're doing this deep dive in culture, what do we do? First, we need to have these conversations on what we all agree on collectively to value. Like, that's a strange thing to even think about. Us coming together and trying to say, all right, we need to vote as a people what's okay to value. Like,
But
what are we
somehow,
going to prop up?
but somehow that has happened, and what I can't understand is how it happened with stuff that doesn't matter. Like we as a culture, we value peach cobbler, we value baked macaroni. You don't cook your macaroni on the stove top in most black houses. I know that much. And we're talking about the culture. You know what I mean? So why is that? Why do you know to bake your shit and not to put it on the, you know what I mean? How come at somebody's house they eat stovetop, and at my house we put our shit in the oven with the chicken chunks and it's not the same. It's that's our culture. But why did that get passed down? And I don't know about a bank account, and I don't have insurance, and I don't have why don't you pass down the shit that matters? That's what I'm saying.
Here's a good look at it. The wife chimes in with, well, these are things people can understand, right? The other stuff is more complex and require thought. Now that's interesting, especially when we've had information kept from us so long. Anson King and I did a book club on Frederick Douglass, right, where he's talking about soon as his mistress trying to teach him how to read, and the master comes home and he's scalding her for it, and he told him, he don't need to read; it's going to be harmful to him. Then all of a sudden, that light bulb came on, that curiosity, that definiteness of purpose, right? That's all this dude wanted to do. Oh, I'm going to now dedicate my life to learn how to read. Come hook or crook. I'm willing to risk my life to learn how to read.
Right.
Right? But the Coliseum games, right, are now so meticulous, right? They're so good at it. They're so good at ads. They're so good at social media and in this algorithm that's constantly feeding off of us, right? They're just way better and so far ahead.
They are.
Right?
But I think if certain people knew that in layman's terms, they wouldn't let it bite them in the ass so hard. You know what I mean? If you knew somebody was sitting up in the office pimping you and pimping your mind for what you know and what you don't know, you might act a little differently. But if you don't know that, people are sitting in the back office somewhere pimping your mind for what you do know and what you don't know.
Right.
So try not to be their asshole,
Absolutely. As Mr. Bills, hey man, that's my dude right here. He says they can only teach what they know.
Absolutely.
And so there it is again, right? Peeling back layers. Like, why is it that's all that they know? Well, if you go all the way back to slavery, like, people died for trying to know more. It was life or death.
That's true.
Right? And it took people like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and all those, those heroes, right? It took them saying, I'm willing to die to know more so that the next generation can do better than this. This right here has got to stop. It's too much. It's crazy. And it's one of those things that once you realize, like you said, once you look up and realize what these, social media platforms are doing to us, right? Oh, man, possibilities are endless. Because now I can start to ask the questions and seek out answers and educate myself on how to guard myself and my children.
Right.
And have these conversations.
Right.
Whew, so that's what we have to do, man. Figure out what we all agree on that we value and start working together. And if you can't trust them, like you can literally Google how to write up a contract, right? You can Google if it's a construction project or living arrangement.
They got outlines for most things. You don't even have to do shit but fill in the blanks.
That's it. That's it. We're on YouTube watching crate videos. We can watch tutorials on how to build a contract.
Absolutely.
Right. And as we start to do this more and more, then we can start to build real trust. And then that's going to seep into the next generation and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, Mr. Rich, as always, before we get out of here, I'm going to let you take the last word. Please join us every single week. At this time, look, we're both husbands and fathers, so we're busy. So right now, Saturdays is all we have for now, but we look forward to, doing more. But thank you guys for watching. Mr. Rich, final word.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, for watching. I hope y'all join us next Saturday. We're going to jump a little deeper into the culture, man. Be careful out there, man. Stay off them fucking crates.
For you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for I can't wait no more. I'm in a vintage David Ruffin limelight to stay in the